Obeng, appreciate you being here as well. We have the Vice President of Operations and Public Safety at the University of Vermont, Gary Durr, who is here, and Kyle Dodson, President and CEO of the Greater Burlington YMCA. Appreciate y'all joining us.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Mr. Obeng, first to you, when you think about welcoming students to a new grade, and I think about how parents are dealing with this right now, is there a benefit to having a refresher, an overview of last grade before we move on to current curriculum?
Absolutely. I think one of the first things actually I'm concerned about, we've been talking with our staff consistently, is the socio-emotional and the mental sort of impact. And I know parents are concerned about that. There's also, you normally have the summer slide in terms of students losing some of their academic lag over the summer. Now we've got the COVID slide in terms of not getting the same level of instruction to that. So I know that we've been talking about how do we close the gap from this year's sort of learning and some of the content that may not have been explicitly discovered, that they can transition into the following year coming forward.
Yeah. And how about that interaction, that one-on-one daily check-in where teachers, they may pick up on behavioral changes, a child's emotional well-being. I have educators in my family. I know how important that is, that one-on-one. So how do teachers overcome that? And what are your challenges?
Yeah, I think it's an extreme challenge. I think there's nothing that can overcome the human connection, the one-on-one. When a teacher's right in front of a student, there's a smile or there's a nod, and you can't overcome that. So we've had to make an adjustment in terms of our teachers, in terms of turning their computers into classrooms and try to connect with students in different ways. Our students have been getting professional development around how to use the devices and how to connect with staff, with students more in a better way. Also, communication with parents, trying to get some background on students in terms of how are they doing, how well they're adjusting to the situation, helps teachers to communicate in terms of what they're doing. In our district, we're a restorative practices district, so I know many of our teachers are working with their classes online and still having restorative circles in terms of talking about their emotions and feelings and how they're connecting and preparing them to feel a level of comfort in engaging in content and instruction. But as I said before, there is no substitute for the traditional human contact one-on-one, and especially now with the physical distancing that we have to do, even when we return back to the classrooms, you can't sort of have any sort of proximity.
Right. Let's talk about that distance learning. What were some of the things really you learned from early on? Did every student have a computer if they needed one? Did the diverse communities in Burlington and elsewhere get the help and the attention they need, especially when it comes to any language barriers?
Yeah, I would say that the pandemic really sort of magnified the inequities we have in our students in terms of access to technology and just pure access to other resources outside. We had students who didn't have connectivity. We had students who didn't have Chromebooks or laptops. We tried to close that sort of gap in terms of providing all our students did get a Chromebook or device that they can access. And we also partner with community partners to ensure that students had connectivity issues. But there was challenges for parents as well too. Some parents, sometimes they had limitations on their connectivity because they were also working and using those same devices and also the data plans during that period of time.
Kyle Dodson, President and CEO of the Greater Burlington YMCA. I'm going to bring you in here. So you opened this brand new building January 1st. You got a good 2 months in. The world turned upside down. What was it like for your members even at that time?
Undoubtedly, Lauren, this has been incredibly challenging, but we have no choice but to put the best spin on it that we can and remain positive. We're still incredibly thankful and grateful that the community stepped up in the way that it did to support us in building that beautiful building. And then when we opened it, the adage of build it and they will come came true. People streamed in. It was the community crossroads that we want to be. And then this pandemic came and everyone was hurt in the pandemic. So rather than sit and nurse our wounds. We've just been focused on what can we do to pivot and shift how we serve, understand what that might look like, and try to come back in the new form that meets the current reality.
But the good timing, your downtown facility opens up on Monday when it comes to fitness and aquatics. What will people expect differently inside?
That's right. We'll be following the guidelines that are put forth by the governor. There'll be the social spacing, the physical spacing of 6 feet. So we'll shut down machines, go every other machine. We'll have all the PPE, sanitizer and masks, et cetera. Plexiglass partitions where it's appropriate. And we'll also follow the capacity guidelines that each space, based on its occupancy levels, will be at 25% of what those occupancy levels are. But we'll have the staff there. They'll be smiling and ready to help you out.
I knew it. Okay. When we talk about after school camps, we know some camps are running, some are closed. How do you go into this season, basically in trying to fit some students into those camps, and how do you make it work?
Well, camps have the advantage at some level of being able to watch the governor's increasing opening of the spigot, right? So other, like our childcare opened already on Monday. So we're seeing what it looks like to have what number of children and teachers in a room together. So camp is learning and watching.
How's that going?
It's going well. It's going well. We've had, admittedly the numbers are down, but the kids are kids. They're 3 and 4 year olds, so they are there. The teachers have been wonderful. Our procedures have gone smoothly. So we're going to have some camp, and we're planning and watching and being ready and communicating with families and make sure we have all the safety things in place. But we're a go.
Okay. I want to bring in Gary Durnow, Vice President of Operations and Public Safety at the University of Vermont. Sir, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We understand that as of Monday, some students are back on campus, moving into downtown apartments, probably not as many as years past. I know you're asking students entering from out of state to sign a quarantining pledge. How are you working on compliance with that?
So we're working with the city of Burlington on that initiative. It's an initiative that they're taking the lead on, and then we're partnering with them on that. We've been communicating regularly with our students who are living off campus and we know are moving from on-campus situations to off-campus, and making sure they're aware of the various regulations that are in place in the state, particularly around quarantining and requirement of wearing facial coverings. And we've been pushing that information out. As you probably know, we set up a pop-up testing site working with the Vermont Department of Health and the Vermont National Guard on campus. It'll be available to our students beginning next week. It's open to the public right now, so that if they fulfill that 7-day quarantine period and they come and get tested and it comes back negative, they can move out. We don't have any students on campus right now other than a few handful of students who, for a variety of reasons, couldn't travel.
So basically you have it worked out, and this is part of the mayor's box it in plan, that a student would maybe kind of serve, I guess you could call it, serve half a quarantine and then get tested. Right.
In compliance with the Vermont health regulations.
Very good. There are working groups right now that support UVM's strong fall 2020 advisory committee. That group on hand to hand in its first report come June 15th. Is there anything solidified? What can you tell us tonight?
Well, I can say that as chair of that committee, we've been working endless hours trying to piece this all together and hearing what my colleagues are dealing with. We're dealing with it as well, too. How do you manage physical distancing on a campus with 10,000 undergrads, 3,000 graduate medical students? How do we handle office spaces? And I think you're going to see a really robust plan that doesn't have one single solution, but has multiple solutions at trying to address making the university campus a safe and healthy place for all. Recognizing too that we're part of a community, we're part of the greater Burlington community. We don't keep our boundaries to the campus, but we're engaged in that community. We also operate all across the state with extension offices in every county across the state. So we've got a huge task ahead of us, but I'm confident we're going to meet that there. We're looking at the academic calendar, whether it might make sense to end before Thanksgiving break, finish some portion of that after, so that students aren't going back and forth.
Yeah, we understand you're exploring that. A lot of other colleges are exploring that as well. And that would then go to kind of remote learning again after Thanksgiving.
Right. And again, the concern is that if they, we tracked a lot of our students from the greater Northeast, and the greater Northeast has been hit particularly hard with COVID-19. And the concern is, and I think it's a real concern, that if our students go back to those areas, the potential risk of bringing them back for that short period of time, usually 2.5 weeks after Thanksgiving, may not be worth it. And what we would do is make those plans clear from early on that some portion of that time after Thanksgiving would be remote.
I want to talk about athletics. My sports colleagues are, of course, worried about this as well. Catamount country, we've got this big, strong fan base as well. And it's hard to imagine Patrick Gym without fans inside.
Yeah.
And I know you're probably talking with the athletic director, but what's on the table right now when it comes to athletics?
Well, you're right. I touch base fairly frequently with our athletic director, and in early March, we were all getting ready for that Great America East Championship game. Our men's basketball team was going to play at home, and that, of course, didn't happen. We're following very closely the regulations that are coming out of the NCAA, as well as America East and our other conferences, to try to determine what that's going to be. We're assessing capacity, so that if we have to manage physical distancing in there, how would we manage that? And it certainly won't be a full gym like we like to have for those type of events. But, we're thinking about not so much what we're not going to do, but how we're going to do it differently, recognizing all the regulations we need to put in place. So I would say count on great athletics from Catamount country beginning in the fall with our teams.
So some fans, we think right now, that's where you're leaning. Okay.
Right. Some plans, and whether we'll do some type of screening before people go into events like that, we're still looking at that and examining that.
Okay. Gary Durr, appreciate you. Kyle Dodson, Yao Obang. Gentlemen, appreciate it so much. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
We come back from shopping to farming to the impact on your job. What will the virus mean to our economy looking forward? Right after this.